Hey guys, Camp 15 back at it with another video for you guys, and I'm back with another uh manga chapter review. Gosh, darn it. Another manga chapter review of good old let's just say My Hero Academia, because my goodness, I just love this story so much, and I'm also honestly am shocked that the story went in a direction that let's just say um I did not expect it would be going. Absolutely shocked that this part of the story was going in a way that was actually fairly dark. And it actually tackles pretty much the concept and the idea of racism here in this chapter, which again, like I said, I'm shocked that My Hero Academia went in a direction that, hey, let's be honest, I never would expect them to go in a certain direction. I typically, My Hero Academia has been a go lucky show, but then again, go happy lucky show, but then again, it's like it has gotten dark as of late, so it's interesting that they're bringing these concepts up, now, and the whole thing about mutants being rejected and everything. But let's get to it. This is My Hero Academia chapter 370, titled History. And we get a flashback of the fact that, it's this flashback, and these people are saying like these hurtful things like die monster, stay inside, you hetero freak, you brought out dirty blood here, you tricked us, the land will become filthy defiled, get out. No matter how much society progresses, we'll never accept you and your kind. Now we cut back to the present. Now we find out later that was actually the backstory of Shoji, who kind of plays a major important factor of this chapter. Anyways, we cut back to the present, and we know that Spinner is on his way to go try to free Kuragiri at the Central Hospital. And he's there on orders from All for One. Pretty much, again, looking like a berserk monster, doing this and everything. So yeah, we also find out that Kuragiri is also the closest thing to a masterpiece out of all the Hayanomus within the Bayer-engineered Nomu series, which is an interesting story point, or an interesting point to make, because it's like, well, then why weren't any of the other Hayanomus that experience? Does it have something to do with Shirakumo potentially maybe still being alive in there? Who knows? I guess we'll find out when the time comes. So yeah. That's the thing. Anyways, the narrator goes on to say that he sent a Spinner and other mutants that are following Spinner to follow his lead and everything. So yeah, and again, some of these villains here are legit civilians, people that sympathize with Spinner because he's a mutant and they were oppressed by everyday society because they were mutants. So yeah, and pretty much they have about 15,000 forces because of that. So yeah, now President Mike is there, and some of the and whatever is left over the heroes, they're trying to hold them back from getting to the hospital, but it's just, too much. It's just too much. And like I said, they're doing all they can. Even President Mike, he's using his powers to try to calm them all down, but he ends up getting you know getting in trouble. Eventually, Kota actually ends up saving President Mike, because he was almost about to get impaled by somebody, and everything. And the thing is, Kota knows they got to split up the people so they can not make so things can be handled in a timely fashion. So yeah, and the thing is that even the police are there, and it's just too much. The police are saying, dude, we don't have enough forces. There's too many of them and everything. And pretty much the commander is like, listen, this doesn't matter. Push them back with the taser shields we got. We have to hold the front. We got to protect the hospital. So yeah, that's kind of the thing. All of a sudden, you see some of the writers saying, shut up, you, tie him up, enough out of you, we ain't rioters, get his hands, you people are always like this. Folks with human faces, and these mutants are saying, you guys always say things that we're not, and we don't like that. So yeah, and eventually they even take down Kota, and they start saying with Kota that you're a freaking betrayer, because Kota's like, you guys need to stop this and everything. And this one bird looking dude is like, You were raised in a big city, were you? You know, you're a traitor to us because guess what? You don't have our backs and you don't understand where we're coming from. We've been oppressed for years and everything. So you have it to where, things are just getting absolutely hectic and everything. And this one guy is pretty much saying, raise good citizens. Today is your Independence Day. Quirk counseling, quirk education. Nothing but phony nonsense, all of it. We know this all too well because of the forms we bear. The 6-6 incident. The Great Jeddah Purge. Now, if you read the unofficial translation, it literally said Order 66. At first, when I read the unofficials, I'm like, whoa, wait a second. Order 66? If that isn't called something. Now, I know Horikoshi loves him some Star Wars, but I'm like, if the official translations say Order 66, I'm absolutely cracking my ass off because that's absolutely funny. But no, it's called the 6-6 incident, the Great Jeddah Purge. So I'm guessing the day here is it's the 6th of June 6th. So they're fighting on June 6th, whatever the year is. So yeah, anyways, this guy's saying the history of the paranormal of the paranormal is one of persecution and oppression for those who don't fit the mold. And what excuse was offered by those who joined in the slaughter of our kind? They gave me the creeps. They say sweeping it under the rug. Now, interesting, there's a panel as the speech bubble was saying, and some people have been look through this panel, and there looks like what a guy with hair who looks to be a much younger All For One. We don't know if that's All For One, but some people have been speculating that looks like All For One right there. So that means All For One was persecuting and killing mutants. But we continue on. We go on, and the dude goes on to say, these days, society has reflected and made amends, or so they would have you believe. Sure, in dense cities, the populace is raised in a diverse melting pot, where though the wonders of education, discrimination is a thing of the past. But take a look beyond the cities. What do they still say there? You give me the creeps. That light never shone upon those, or not even the brightest light can illuminate every corner of society. That light should never shone upon those of us here today. We must find our own light in this world. If only I weren't born looking like this with this quirk. Have you people ever thought that even once? No, you people are no heroes of ours, but instead it will be him who will lead us to prominence in society. And he's talking about Spinner. Now, the thing is, Spinner, right now in his mind, he's like, what the hell is this guy saying? What is he saying? And he goes on to say, ever since All For One gave him this power that makes him all like a beat up monster, he can't think straight, and his head's getting fuzzier and everything. But at the same time, he's just like, screw it. I am doing this for this cause. I'm doing it for this reason. And I'm here to save Kurogiri. So yeah, now, right before Spinner ends up attacking some random people, Shoji comes in and uses his move Octo Blow. And he ends up holding Spinner back for a bit. Now, some of the rioters that are siding with Spinner, they end up taking Shoji down, or they can end up getting on him saying, you do not hit our freaking leader. You don't do that. Kill him, kill this traitor and everything. And they're just kicking him, stepping on him and everything. And then that's when Shoji has one of his big moments, if not his biggest moment of the series. And he goes on to say what any of that got to do with attacking the hospital. Back in Jakku, which is referenced in the first war, the first thing heroes did was take action to make sure the patients and staff were safe. But what about you guys? Go on, tell me. Do you guys have a plan here? No matter how much society progresses, we'll never accept you and your kind. And in this moment, we're getting a flashback to Shoji when he was younger. Pretty much, the chapter ends off with Shoji throwing off all of the riders that were on him, and he pretty much says, you better, because if not, I won't let this stand. Pretty much telling the rioters, if you attack that freaking hospital, um, I'm not gonna stand for what you guys do. In the unofficial translations, I'll say this: it's on a little bit better because he's like, "I won't forgive you if you do that." But at the same time, it's still it's the same meaning. It's still the same concept of the fact that if they go into the hospital and they start attacking random people just to get one dude, which is Kuragiri, well then, what the hell are you? What the hell does that make you any better than what you proclaim heroes to be? And in the meantime, we also do see Shoji's legit actual face on what he looks like. So no break. Solid chapter. Now, some people may be a little bit upset that they went away from the Deku versus Shigaraki fight for this chapter, which maybe in some cases some people may not like this chapter because they went away from it and it's not their type of chapter. But I think there's more world building and it's more understanding of, you know, all of the whole society is messed up. And listen, this whole thing about mutants being disrespected, it's pretty much racism, like it is today. You know, let's be honest, racism won't ever end till the end of time. And I've always said that approach, and that's me as a black man saying that. You know, what I want it to be where nobody is saying it, nobody is judged for the color of their skin, you know, what type of religion they have, everything. You know, people should be seen equal as all. You know, we're all the same people, you know. And what I love to live in a world where there is no prejudice, no race, and no demeaning characteristics. I would love that, but you know, it's an interesting topic Horikoshi brings up because racism is a real life thing that happens today, and you know, there are still people out there that, let's be honest, there are racist people. People just don't like people of other cultures, other races. They just don't, and they treat them with disrespect, lower than them. Again, you know, I know we live in the United States, and I know there's racial injustices not only to black people, but there's racial injustices. A few years back, there was racial injustices to Asian people. Remember when freaking COVID-19 was a thing? You know how many times the Asian community they were judged unfairly. There were people treating them insensitively racial because, oh, COVID-19 came originally from China. That virus came from China and just spread out all over the place. And you had actual people being racist, showing injustices, hurting people, sometimes even killing them, to Asian people because, oh, you spread COVID-19 and it's your fault. Like, they had nothing to do with it. And that's kind of the thing, you know. I appreciate this chapter for Horikoshi bringing this topic up because it goes to show you, and Shoji's kind of the person of like, it shouldn't matter what the color of your skin is, what the way you look. We're all the same individuals, and if you're going to do something that harms and hurts other people, what makes you any better than the people that were treating you the way that, guess what? You probably wouldn't want to be treated. You want to be seen equal. So what's the point in that? And I really do appreciate Horikoshi bringing up this chapter and having something like that, because this is a real life element. You know, there's racial, especially in this country, the United States of America. You know, there are racial injustices being committed, whether that's through police officers doing it or just random people doing it. There are racial injustices. And it goes back to the start of time. Slaves and everything, you know. And this, you know, this chapter is kind of that thing of a way of like, we have to be better as a society. We have to be better. And, you know, like I said, you know, especially as of late, people have been trying to work on this whole getting injustice. But, you know, regardless, there are still people out there that they don't care. They'll do things because they feel like, oh, I don't like this guy. I don't like, you know, they have a perception of people instead of getting to know the person. You know, they might be a nice guy, but guess what? You find out like, oh, you know, you see it on the news. Nice kid, you know, whether race, whether it's black, I guess use a black kid, for example, you know, might get killed because potentially it had something to tie in with racism. And that kid could have been really a good kid. And I'm not saying that as, you know, thing, but you know, we have to weed out the people. People have to have an understanding of change and understand that not everybody is like that. You know, not everybody of a different race is like that. But really solid My Hero Academia chapter. Like I said, some people may not like this chapter because it goes away from what some people would want from My Hero Academia, because that the Shigaraki versus Deku fight is heating up. But I'm honestly fine. And there's got to be a point where some of these other stuff going around in this war, in the second war to save Japan, pretty much save the world, all is. We got to get some conclusions to some points. But like I said, I think the Deku versus Shigaraki fight is far from over, because last chapter it looked like he had some sort of power up moment where he's gonna get stronger. I really did not think Shigaraki's apex form was his last final form. I think he's gonna get one more power up boost, and Deku's gonna have to go pretty much beyond plus ultra to defeat this guy. So it's gonna be interesting. It's going to be interesting, to say the least, how the story is going to go. But it's all a chapter. There is no break next week. So we might cut around, we might stay here and see what's going on here, or maybe we cut around to somewhere else, don't know. But it's gonna be very interesting to see where the story is gonna be going. But it's another solid chapter of My Hero Academia. If you guys like the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts on this week's My Hero Academia chapter, as well as hit the subscribe button if you want to get more My Hero Academia content, whether that's the manga or the anime of season 6 that's currently going on right now. But till then, guys, catch you guys in the next video. See you guys later. Peace.